You know, for a sport that's all about evolution and moving forwards, in Formula 1 some things really do seem like they never change. As we move into an off week in regards to the on-track action, for the travelling circus the off-track spectacles continue at full speed, as allegations of cheating have been thrown out in an attempt to put a collar on two teams that the rest of the grid wish to put under control before they get out of reach. Typically this is the kind of thing we'd expect to see early on into the season as the new advancements are discovered on new packages, but foul play has been discovered, or so two championship contenders seem to believe. Not only that, but regardless of whether they are right, it may well be that the teams under scrutiny managed to sink their own chances before the FIA ever gets a chance to sink its teeth in. Want to know why McLaren and Mercedes are accused of cheating? Quelle surprise! Red Bull are clinging on for dear life, but with Ferrari getting in on the action too, there could be more to this than we initially believed. And stick around, because if one championship winning team principal is to be believed, McLaren run the risk of sabotaging their championship hopes all by themselves with no need for the FIA to get involved. So Red Bull and Ferrari believe that both Mercedes and their engine customer, McLaren, are bending the rules, if you'll excuse the pun. Flexi wings and moving aero aren't exactly new issues on the grid, with them consistently being a stick with which to beat the ankles of teams performing well. However, this isn't exactly the same situation as in prior years. Across the course of the season, it's been pretty clear when watching the onboard footage that there has been some pretty substantial movement on the aero of some cars, to the extent where Ferrari and Red Bull have now decided to pull the trigger and demand FIA intervention. The most blunt member of Red Bull requesting it is Helmut Marko, who demanded on OE24 the front wing of McLaren and Mercedes must be analysed, with team principals from both Ferrari and Red Bull giving more passive-aggressive approaches, claiming the rules are clear and that the ball is very much in the FIA's court. Now, it must be said that at every event, the aero on the McLaren and Mercedes cars have passed FIA scrutiny. However, there is clearly a sentiment that the aero packages aren't performing within the spirit of the sport. While wings are allowed to move within certain parameters, they should not exceed the necessary movement allowed in the regulations. It has been revealed by credible sources from within Brackley that they were sat down in front of a video displaying the McLaren front wing bearing aero load, and according to those working at Mercedes, the amount of load displayed on the videos was substantial to the point of it being dubious. However, due to the FIA not intervening and it being deemed legal due to their inaction, they were instructed to pursue the front wing load bearing demonstrated by McLaren in the provided videos. So McLaren seemed to be the originators of this idea. Mercedes' subsequent upgrade package saw a massive uptick in performance, and since then they have won 3 races and challenged for further podiums and pole positions as the season has progressed. So clearly the pursuit of McLaren's impressive aero development that was central to their meteoric rise post-Miami has been of massive benefit to Mercedes. The development hasn't gone unnoticed by other drivers either, with Max Verstappen erring more on the side of curiosity than scathing remarks, perhaps being more impressed with the developments of the other teams in the face of his team's failure to do so in recent months. This is what the 3-time world champion had to say following his second-place finish at the Dutch Grand Prix. I think it's more where have the others found performance. I think the front wing is a key area where others have found some performance. The way the front wings are being used are quite different. If you look at the front wing angle of McLaren and Mercedes, they're very different to the rest of the grid. One of the key benefits of a highly flexible front wing has been visible on McLaren's package over the course of the season, and that is that it makes the car highly adaptable to different circuit requirements as well as potentially greater tyre management. Now clearly it was the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc who managed his tyres better last time out at Monza. However, Lewis Hamilton's bemusement after the race was mainly focused on the fact that he believed that McLaren were capable of running their tyres better, to the extent where he was baffled that they had been so needlessly aggressive on their tyres early on in the race, thus forcing them into a 2-stop that cost him so dearly. However, that is not the only thing that caused confusion surrounding McLaren from outside the team this weekend, as more scrutiny has come upon the Woking team in regards to how they handle their drivers. Team radio has been the best and worst part of McLaren's year so far, from the grovelling at Lando in Hungary to the ice-cold Piastri and Lando messages when chasing race wins. However, one radio message over the Monza weekend caught everyone's ear far more than any other so far this year, and that was the one reminding the drivers about the papaya rules. rules. We discussed this briefly in our last video, however a man who knows a thing or two about balancing two extremely quick and talented drivers has since had his say on the McLaren driver situation. According to Toto Wolff, McLaren are caught up in somewhat of a catch-22 and risk being damned either way with how they handle their drivers for the rest of the season. This is what Mercedes team principal had to say following the Italian Grand Prix. I think as a racing team that is battling at the front suddenly, you're between a rock and a hard place because on the one side, they are racers like we are racers. We want to make sure that the best man wins, but on the other side when it starts to become dysfunctional and impacting your team performance, then how do you react to that? The team is always on the losing end because if you freeze positions and have team orders, then you have maybe not what our racing soul wants to do, but the rational side needs to prevail. At the end, you don't want to lose out on a championship by 3 or 5 points that you could have easily made, so walking that tightrope is so difficult and there is no universal truth on how to handle it. In plain terms, they risk either losing the Drivers' Championship with Lando or frustrating Piastri by asking him to play the team game. However, this is something that Stella will be all too aware of. Wolff would allude to Stella's time at Ferrari as giving him experience in handling their drivers, but that is literally one of the elements of Formula 1 that the prancing horse is worst at. I mean, just look at Vettel in his final year, or the binning off of Carlos Sainz this year and the way that was handled. The funniest but perhaps most telling jibe at McLaren came from Helmut Marko, who seemed to either look to poke the bear or rub salt in the wound of an already disappointing weekend performance-wise. However, according to him, it wasn't a disappointing result in regards to how the weekend played out for Red Bull, as he said. A disappointing result? No way. We had seen this coming a bit, and I want to congratulate Ferrari on the victory and thank McLaren for their sportsmanship. I appreciate that. It makes our situation a bit better. Lando Norris gave an interesting insight on this after the race, however, and it seems that it may be more down to racers' pride than sportsmanship. When talking about Piastri, he recognized that his teammate deserved second place, and a higher finishing position would have been because of the team engineering the result. As he said, "I'm not here just to beg for someone to let me pass. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to race. He drove a better race than me, so I finished third, and that's where I deserved to finish." Which is certainly a commendable position, however it may well come with a lower points tally that makes all the difference come the end of the season. Norris would double down on this, however, when he was asked if he would like to receive preferential treatment from the team to assist in his title hopes from the final rounds of the season. "I would love it, but it's not up to me. It's tough because obviously I think as any driver, you don't want it. You know you don't want things to just be played that way. It's a tough one. Obviously, I wouldn't say we're running out of time, but time is going away slowly, and I still believe we can do it. The pace is obviously great. I still think we're probably close to, if not the best car again today. I don't know. It's not for me to decide, it's for the team, but I think we're still working together well." So while Norris's accountability is a hell of a lot less negative than it was before, it's still a commendable response in the face of an unmaximized weekend. Sadly for him, however, Marko is right. You don't win championships off of commendable responses and sportsmanship.